Hey guys, and we're back with a guide for beginners this time, making a HTTP web server in Delphi. We're just going to take it to the basics, and then I'm going to do another video later on with it in a better mood. So I've just started a VCL project, just a blank one. I'm just trying to find somewhere to save it first. There you will need a unit in a minute when I get to the folder I am in. I already have a unit in there. It is called web.win.sockets. If you're running Delphi and it's lower than XE2, you can just put in sockets in the declare. If not, you have to go looking for it. There's the file. If not, you have to go looking for it. It's hidden in one of the example folders. For some reason they're discontinuing it. So if you're above Delphi XE2, I'll put a link in the description where I found it on your hard drive, and you can find the same file and copy it. So we're just going to call it my simple web server, nice and simple. And to keep everything simple, we are just going to put a memo on here, and I don't know if we're going to bother putting any yes, we might put some edit boxes on here. Yeah. No, we're not gonna bother. So I'm just gonna leave enough space for a start and stop button. We won't be coding the stop button. I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. I've got to leave something for you guys to do. And we're just going to simply leave a comment tag here, and we'll come find that later. So this is our button. We're going to grab another one because we're going to want to stop. Although if you just close the application, it would stop anyway. So we're going to call them stop and start. And we're going to add another unit, and we're going to use this as our configure. So guys who have followed some of my other tutorials will know that I like having config units just to keep everything separate. So we're just going to chuck a few constants in here. We want our web host, or our web root, we'll call it, and our error root. These are for our error files and our web files when in the next episode when we chuck these in. I'm trying to keep the episode short enough that people's attention span doesn't disappear. So we're going to need our web port, and we'll have to come back and change this because I don't know whether it accepts integers or whether it accepts strings. We need our host name, so quite simply this is just going to be localhost. And so that's pretty much it for our config file. We're going to jump back into our source of our main application, and we're going to start off by declaring our sockets. So like I said, if you are running Delphi XE2 I believe or higher, you're going to need to find this unit. If you're not, you can declare it as sockets, and it should just work out of the box. Yeah, I don't think there's much more other than to say that it's usually in your public folder, so it'll be c/user/public/ Eldorado Studio / the version / bin / samples, and then you'll find it in there. So we're going to declare our TTcp socket, or TTcp server, should I say. And then we're going to write a class. So this is to avoid a change they did recently where you can't call a procedure in a certain manner. And And why is this erroring? What have I done to make this error? Spelled correctly. It's declared. Do I need this? Nope. It's not declared as anything. Oh, I'm just being a silly. I've just put an end at the end. So, yeah, you have to look out for things like that. So we're just going to make a new procedure, and we're going to call it web server accept. And this is going to be the accept function that we pass all of our requests to. So it requires a sender as a T object, and it also requires a client socket, and that is a T custom IP client, I believe. Yes, that looks right. And then we're going to hit an end on the end, but we also need a constructor. So if I can spell constructor today, it would help. Yep, there you go. So we have our constructor, and it's just gonna, you just use create. So we're going to move down into the main code. Now we have all that declared. And we're first going to start our constructor. So you have to call, because we put it in a class, you have to call constructor twebserver dot and then create. And what we're going to do is we're going to first create our TTcp server by calling create, and we're going to give it we're going to give it nil as the parent or as the owner. And then next we're going to go and we're going to declare the local host. No, we're going to declare the local port next. And we're going to use the variable we set in our config, but we haven't actually declared our config, so it's going to error like that. Just make sure I spelled it correctly today. Nope, you can't even spell configure. And there you go. So now it stops erroring. And depending on whether this accepts integers or strings, we're going to have to come back and edit that again. So now we want to do the local host, and this is definitely going to be a string, so we have no problem there. And then lastly, we want to tell it where our onAccept function comes and goes. And we're going to point it at our class variable web server accept. And then lastly, we want to open our web server. This is going to make it accessible from the outside world and accessible from Chrome in a minute when we have a go. For some reason it's declaring it as not there, but I'm pretty sure it is called open. Oh, there it goes. It's just Delphi's just playing around today. It's not really feeling it either. So next we are going to go for our web server accept function, and because Delphi's decided it doesn't want to work again, we're just going to copy this because I can't be bothered to guess it. Put an end at the end and begin. We're getting some variables, and these variables will come in handy in this episode and in the next. So we're going to need, first of all, our raw data, then the path we want, find, and then the raw agent, and they're all going to be strings. And then after that we are going to want some integers, because we're going to break some data up. We need the http pos, so that's for the position. We need an agent pos, and they're both going to be integers. do spell agent correctly. I'm seriously having a day at this. And they're both going to be integers. They're going to be used later to split strings that are coming in to get the user agent and the path that we want, and to see whether it's a get. So they're all the variables we want. And next we're going to go with, we're not going to set raw to space, because that would be a dirty trick. So we're going to do while client socket dot, see, Delphi's still not working, connected, and raw data is greater than 0. I got a feeling that's going to come back and bite me in the arse. But we'll leave it there. It has an error to tell me it's wrong. Then we're going to begin. And first thing we need to do is we need to get our received data. So we're going to do raw data, and we're going to propagate raw data with client socket dot read line when it wants to give me read line. No, received line. Received line? Received ln. I can't spell received either today. So once we move them, yep, there you go. So that propagates our raw data file, our raw data variable. And next we want to go and we're going to get the position of the user agent. So once again, Delphi is playing me around, telling me that pos doesn't exist. We'll see if declaring classes helps. I don't think it's gonna, but we'll see. So we're going to do if pos is greater than 0. So if there is a position which corresponds to this string, which is going to be user agent or user dash agent, and do make sure you use a capital U and a capital A, and then the two dots, and then we want to find that in our raw data, and that's going to simply tell us that if the raw data that's just come through, because it gets pushed to you in lines, is if it has the user agent in it, we want to pull the user agent. So we need to take our raw user agent, our raw data, and push it into our raw user agent, like so. And then we want to go and propagate our agent position by asking for the position of the string user dash agent in the raw user agent variable. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get rid of the word user agent and the two dots. That's not part of the user agent, so we don't want it. And then finally we want to get the agent itself. So we're going to take the position and we're going to copy from the position of our raw user agent 13 characters in, because it's 13 characters for raw user agent, for user dash agent and the two dots, and then the length minus 12, because we don't want to cut a character off, and that's going to keep our user agent while discarding the bit that says user dash agent. And then next we want to get the whether it's a get or not. And this is also going to get our path. So we want to do, once again, pos, or no, let's go copy, and we want to copy from the raw data from 1 to 3, and I want to know if that is equal to get in all capitals. And if it's equal to get in all capitals, we know we've got the right string. And then after that, we need to know the position of HTTP. So http pos is equal to the pos of the string http in capitals out of our raw data. And then we need to close that off, and then what we want to do is we want to extrapolate the path from that. So using the http pos, we should be able to extrapolate the data. So copy from our raw data 5 spaces in, which should be the right number, and then we want to take the position of the http pos, and we want to take 6 characters away. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that should be smack bang in the middle. And that's going to give us our path. And then from this point, if the path, so we want to determine if they've called, so localhost on 8000 and a slash, or just localhost on 8000 will automatically use the slash. So if the path equals slash, then begin, and we simply want to send them back HTTP and code 200, which is okay. So we're going to do client socket dot send line, and in our first line we want to send back our HTTP header. So HTTP in capitals slash 1.0 space 200 and OK in capitals. That tells the browser that everything went okay. Here's the data you've asked for, and it's a standardized call. So next we're going to send another send line, except from this one's going to be blank, and then we're going to send our data. So I can't remember whether this works with just a plain string. It's been a while since I made a web server in Delphi, but we'll try it with a plain string with just hello world in there, and we will see how Chrome reacts. So next we want to close our socket, and we'll give it a go. So we do need to propagate our button, and to do this we simply want to call our create function, create our class function. So we're going to do TTcpServer.create, and that's going to create our class, and that class is going to create our socket. So let's give it a go. And as with all things, we have an error. So I've duplicated a declare. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. And we've duplicated a declare again. So we'll get rid of this one. And what have we got this time? So it's come back to bite us in the arse. So this is saying that it can't be an integer. So we'll try this. Nope, it still doesn't like it. So we'll try it as a string. So, yep. And we get an error in a different place. So I thought this might come back as well. Yeah, this is one of the things we're coding. So we'll try we'll try empty string. And it starts with empty string. Start the client. And we get nothing. Right, so this happens occasionally. We just need a bit of debugging to go on. So we will put some of these checks in place, and we'll see which one trips first. And you can put one of these anywhere there's a blue dot on the edge whilst you're debugging. So we're going to hit enter again, and we're going to see what happens in our application. So it's not getting past our where function or while function. So what we're going to do is we are just going to take out, is there any data in the raw? And we're going to start it back up. And we're going to hit start again. And we can see that things are already going on. Chrome is, there you go, we got our first breakpoint. Did anything pop up in Chrome? And we'll try something else. So I was wondering whether our string requires to have HTML tags in it for Chrome to interpret it. It may be a possibility that it does, so we will uncheck a few of these checkpoints and we'll move the checkpoints around to see what's going on. So we know it's making it that far, we don't need that one. Start it again, see if we're getting the correct path. So hit start again, come back into Chrome, we are getting down here. So this is useful if you have strings and variables that are getting declared and propagated as your code executes. You can stop, you can put a breakpoint in, you can see what actually the string actually says. So we can see it's making it into our last function, but it doesn't appear to be getting displayed by Chrome. So once again we'll wait and we'll hit refresh, and we can see it breakpoints, and it's jumped into our code and it is being sent. So it's entirely possible that this is because we haven't got HTML tags in here. It's a reasonable assumption, so we're going to chuck some HTML tags in here and see exactly what comes up. In the next episode we'll be adding the ability to send other parts of the header, including declaring the server, the content type and the content length. So you won't have this problem after the next video, but we're going to run it again. Now we'll put some HTTP tags in it. We're going to hit start, we're going to run back to Chrome, and we're going to hit go, and we can see it jumped into our function. If we come back, we have hello world. So we've got some more breakpoints, but hello world worked. So these are two videos you might enjoy. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. The source code will be posted in the description. If you want to join in, grab yourself a copy. And until next time, hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.